Good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to Doncaster. Ideal conditions. Halifax have been out for a few minutes on the field waiting for their opponent. And Halifax looking to make amends for a miserable performance last week where they were annihilated by the Castleford Tigers. Damien Gibson at full-back, James Haley, James Bunyan, Jamie Bloom fills the number 4 spot with Ricky Sharif at 5. Dean Lawford and Ben Black playing half-backs for only the second time this season. It was supposed to be a dream partnership, but the only time they've appeared together prior to this was at the away win at Keighley, which seemed such a long time ago. Andy Hobson, Ben Fisher, Jason Baltz the front row, David Larder and Andy Spink the familiar second row, and Pat Wisner locking up the back of the scrum. Damien Ball, Chris Morley, Ryan MacDonald and Ferretti Tuolangi makes up an all-forward replacement bench for Halifax. Steve Nicholson is the referee. Pleasure of another Cumbrian this afternoon. The Doncaster Dragons, who beat Rochdale last week with a much weakened side. No Andy Hay, who's probably the most experienced forward. Ben Cockayne, Dean Colton, Craig Lawton, Craig Farrell, Craig Miles are the three quarters. Graham Allright, Partons, Latham, Taffy in the half-backs. Gareth Hanford, Craig Cook, Martin Osler and Lee Harland. Peter Green and Martin Moana are the Doncaster forwards. Wayne Green, Carl Mills, Dean O'Loughlin and Tom Buchanan on the bench. And that's the first touch for Lee Harland, moving from Castleford, former Halifax player of course. Martin Osler, a former Hull player, making good yards for the Dragons in a sparsely populated ground this afternoon, as Allright uses his trusty boot, which has served him well for years in rugby league. Been around a long time, and the chase is there onto Allright's kick, forcing Gibson back towards his own line, and the ball is loose. And fortunately for Halifax, Latham Taffy, the former Hunslet scrum half, went over the top of the ball in an attempt to pick it up. Halifax playing danger right from the off, passing the ball in front of their own post. And the immediate advantage goes with Moana. A long pass out to Allright, who feeds Craig Farrell. Halifax move across to bring him down. Dean Colton taking the ball in towards the post. Hanford picks it up, drops it off back inside to Harland, running across the face of the Halifax defence, gets the pass away. Allright brings it back again to the right hand side. Taffy to Gareth Hanford, and Hanford is wrestled to the ground by 2. Halifax desperate defending the line. Well, Castleford opened the scoring in little more than minutes in that match last week, and Doncaster looking as though they may going to do the same, but the kick has gone touching goal, forced over by a Halifax player. They will have to drop out underneath the post, so Doncaster will pile more pressure on that Halifax line. So Dean Lawford, who could have played last week against Castleford, but Andy Farrell deciding an extra week rest might benefit the standoff. Drop out to the halfway, and Hanford on the second tackle. He's already almost back to the Halifax 20-metre line. Taffy, short ball to Moana. Moana bringing in Lawton. Taffy left on the floor, nursing an injury, but Doncaster still barging forward with Hanford again. Hanford switching back to the right hand side. Moana will look to the long ball out wide, where Dean Colton squeezes past Ricky Sharif. Halifax have one touch of the ball, make the mistake, and Doncaster have piled on the pressure on the third consecutive set of 6, and Halifax trail to an early try just as they did against Castleford last week. Doncaster 4, Halifax 0.
Right down to the Dragons, number 2, sponsored by the House Show Builders, Dean Colton.
So all right, with a boat that's kicked probably the best part, or even more than 1,000 points in his career. Just seen him at Leeds, Halifax, Castleford, Salford, Huddersfield and Doncaster, and it's almost metronomic for Graham Allwright, scoring points with that trusty left boot as he adds on the sweeteners to Colton's try. Doncaster 6, Halifax 0. And the game just 6 minutes old, and Halifax kicking off again, and it was all right to kick that pushed Halifax back onto their own line initially to get Doncaster out of their own half. And there's St John Ellis legendary team talks with the likes of Allride, Ireland and Marner, all ex-Halifax players in this Doncaster side this afternoon. There'll be little motivation needed as Colton tries to go round Sharif, and Sharif can't take the winger into touch, but he made it up to halfway. Doncaster relying on Hanford again, the number 8, and he gets the ball away. Taffy gets it out wide to Allride. Allride gets the pass away again on that far side to Craig Farrell, and Doncaster on a roll. Martin Osler, another former Hull player in this Doncaster side, takes the Dons up to the 20-metre line on the last tackle, and the chip through by Taffy. The referee said he threw himself on the floor. Fisher picks up the bits for Halifax under the post. Bunyan, former Doncaster man himself, who only left the club as it went into a CVA, manages to get the ball inside as he was dragged over the touchline on that far side of the field. The 3-man tackle waiting for Andy Spink. Lawford to Jason Bolts, and this is the first time that Halifax have been out of their own 20 with the ball, but Doncaster tackling ferociously, trying to hang them back. Fisher goes for the 40-20. Great kick, I think it was I'm sure it's a 40-20. Halifax will get possession. Good kick from Fisher, taking Halifax downfield. First time in the Doncaster half. Halifax will need to do something with the ball, need to come away with a point. And this is the first opportunity for them. Black to Lawford. Lawford with Gibson coming round the back. Gibson steps the defence, and the points are going to come for Halifax on the first attack and the first tackle of a set of 6. And Black and Lawford combining. Bloom the dummy runner, Gibson jumping into the line, and there was a gap big enough to drive a double-decker bus through there as Gibson races away from 20 metres, and Halifax with an instant reply from the first attack on the Doncaster line. Doncaster Dragons 6, Halifax 4.
Opening side Halifax, number 1, David Gibson.
So Jamie Bloom, like Bunyan, a former Doncaster player, left the club for all the wrong reasons about 10 years ago. Really made a name for himself for all the wrong reasons after showing tremendous potential. Well, no potential there as the kick goes to the right hand side of the post. But Halifax will be happy that they've hit back, and with such ease as well, once they got into the Doncaster half of the field. Well, they look impressive so far going forward to Doncaster. All right, it's taking a while to stand the ball upright on the cone. Lots of height, lots of distance. Lawford underneath it. Big shout from the standoff when he saw the ball coming towards him. And Larder entrusted with the first drive away from the line. Sharif with a second, almost got up and had another go, but the big prop in to cover him as Spink takes the ball over the advantage line for Halifax, forcing the defenders back. Long ball inside to Bolts, who's met by 3. Only 2 needed to complete the tackle. St John Ellis obviously got the word out. Lawford's long pass to Bloom. Bloom unable to keep all of it, was dipping in front of him. And awkward to take Halifax, looking at a weakness perhaps down this near side defence. As Craig Lawton takes the ball into 3, who struggled to put him down. They'll do so eventually. Craig Cook, another former old player in these Doncaster ranks, to Osler, who takes it back over the 20-metre line. Moana takes the pass and also the tackle, looking to get up and play it quickly. Taffy to Hanford, and Hanford route one up the middle towards the Halifax line. Once again it takes 3 to tackle the big prop, and Halifax could be lacking numbers on that far side as Allride ships out the short ball, but Halifax have the numbers. Now it'll come back this way, will it? Will Taffy looking at the potential kick, and Sharif rises up to take that one. Bloom creating the shepherding wall so that the winger not under any real pressure, and Bloom and Sharif combining 2 tackles to try and make ground. Gibson also running down this right hand Doncaster defensive channel, where Halifax have made some yards, but not enough to cause Doncaster any concern defensively, as the last tackle's made Halifax just inside their own half. But the kick by Lawford, and there's a potential here as Black hacks it forward, and if Larder can pick it up, it's going to be a try for Halifax. And Lawford and Black once again combining, as Lawford's both half-backs using the feet to good effect. This always needs a look at the bounce on the floor, and that look fell to David Larder. And Larder romping over for his 5th try of the season, just to the left-hand side of the Doncaster post. Well, looked like there was nothing on there from the last tackle. Lawford varying the kick, and Doncaster waiting for the long kick. Short one from Lawford. Black just getting a toe to it, and might have had a chance in the race himself had he not been held back by a Doncaster player. But Larder steaming onto it, and it popped up good as a pass into the second row's hand. And it's Halifax, Doncaster 6, Halifax 8. So simple kick for Bloom, and never any doubt really on that one. Bloom's first conversion of the afternoon. So Halifax's second try. Halifax stretch the lead to 10 points to 6. And all right to Lawford again. Big shout from Lawford, claiming the possession. Gives it inside to Sharif. And Sharif straightens up after a 7 or 8 metre sideways run as Gibson tries to help out the forwards, as he does so often in that position, and takes the ball over the 20 metre line. Fisher put down by Moana. Lawford to Wisner. And Lawton hanging on to the ankles. Lawford slides the ball through again. This one's not going to be as effective. Haley and Bunyan make the tackle on the 20 metre line. And the Doncaster fans call for and got the penalty. And all right, puts the ball into touch on the 40 metre line. Osler driving the ball up, making 7 or 8 metres on the first charge. Switch the other way for Green. Peter Green, a former Castleford man, picked up one-handed. Taffy brings Anford back on the inside ball. Halifax defence waiting for him, but Doncaster making the yards. All right to Moana. Good tackle by Lawford on Moana, but the ball once again played quickly as Ireland looks to take advantage of some slow marking there and gets it away to Moana. Moana being given the room to run, and Moana trying to use his strength, put down eventually, and Doncaster making more of that than they should have done. Halifax giving them the time and the space to move about, and Allride will once again test out Sharif as the ball's knocked back inside. Referee waving the tackle count clean, but Doncaster don't need it as Craig Lawton gets under the end of the ball that Coulton knocks back inside. And this time there was no Jamie Bloom there to shepherd Sharif as he went up. And the Doncaster winger Coulton winning the charge for the ball, knocking it down for Lawton, and Halifax had hands on him, but Lawton able to stretch out, and Doncaster level the scores. Doncaster 10, Halifax 10.
The Dragons, number 3, comes back Peter, Craig Lawton.
It's all right, already had the practice from this side once. Fails to hit the target this time, so the scores remain locked at 10 points all. So both sides showing defensive frailties. Halifax giving Moana and Harlan far too much time and far too much room in the build-up to that try, as they found some big gaps. And Lawford, Bloom's kick sails out on the full, and so Halifax will give Doncaster the possession back immediately from the kick-off. Well, there's no real movement on the flags, so whether that was a wind-assisted kick, I'm not sure. It was went out a good 3 metres over the hands of the Doncaster player as he put them in the air, and that looked like a forward pass from Moana to Hanford, but Doncaster allowed to continue. Taffy moves it out, full back linking up, and Sharif having trouble handling Craig Lawton there, put down eventually by Fisher and Lawford, but Halifax on the back foot again. Hanford playing as the pivot there, and Halifax really struggling to contend as Dean O'Loughlin, the first of the Doncaster replacements, is caught by the post. Taffy had nowhere to go. Hobson quickly into him to rag the scrum half and wrap him up. All right, searching for a gap in the defence, gets it away, and Ireland's off again, giving too much time and too much space. And he's troubled the defence already, close to the line as Ireland. Tried to trouble it again there as Taffy gets the ball away, but Ailey out of the blocks there, saw exactly what was happening. Took the ball away. Bunyan on an arced run, which took him probably 20 metres, but only 7 or 8 forward. Halifax quickly ship the ball out where they think Doncaster will be light in defence, but Doncaster moving across, and Lawford, Allroyd rather, penalised for pulling the ball out in the tackle. So Wisner made a massive gain with a kick there for Halifax, huge kick from the loose forward. So Halifax a chance to attack that Doncaster line again. Suggest he probably won't find it as easy to stroll through as he did last time for Gibson's try. Black, now they're back to Gibson. Gibson to Haley, too much work to do this time for the winger, can't shake off the defence. Black to Wisner. Wisner stepping, trying to push his way away from the defenders, disappears under two eventually. Lawford steps out, Lawford turns it back inside to Hobson, and Hobson has got to the line but not over it, and somebody, and Andy Hobson striking out in the tackle there and giving the penalty away. The Doncaster man's gone down, a bit over dramatic. Hobson pleads his innocence. I think he's saying he's throwing his arm round in an attempt to roll over and get up and play the ball. Referee doesn't see it that way. And Halifax throw away the good build up to the line by giving away the penalty. And Allroyd will not fail with a kick for touch. Only takes him to the 20, but it takes him importantly away from the goal line. So O'Loughlin drives forward. Tackle looked a little high on the placement. Keeps a close eye on Coulton and gets him into touch. Referee's flags up, touches flags up, referee waits for the report. And I think that might be the second effort for Lawford, as Sharif brought the winger down. So a third Doncaster penalty. So two penalties have put Doncaster back in the Halifax half of the field, and O'Loughlin it is that drives it into Bolts and Hobson's tackle. Well, that touched by Allroyd, that must be a knock on. But it's seemed to take an age there as Taffy stood with the ball. Lawford switches positions with Black, who's dropped out to stand off and put Bunyan in a gap. Bunyan's got it away to Ailey. Foot race now with Ailey, has Black in support, tries to go round the outside, gets back to his feet. Ben Black was there shadowing him all the way down, but Ailey's made good yards for Halifax. Bunyan just lost the ball. Bishop tries to wrestle the possession back for Halifax. Anthony Farrell making the changes, taking off Bolts and Hobson to be replaced by Morley and MacDonald. There's no shortage of gaps in this Doncaster defence, but Halifax losing possession, failing to capitalise. And once again they're playing the game without the possession as a hooker loses the ball. MacDonald's on the floor with Craig Cook all over him. Well, MacDonald's tackle having the desired effect. Bunyan shows it this time. Can't get away around that outside. Miles coming inside to tackle him. Halifax very static at the moment, relying on Spink, who's being driven back by 3 defenders. MacDonald charges forward, brushes away from the first, has another go, gets it over halfway. Rather more difficult proposition, pushing back the prop as Lawford bounces off one, gets it back to MacDonald again, and MacDonald will fail to get anywhere from a standing start with defenders stood around him. Fisher for Lawford. First tackle. Lawford to Bloom, puts it back to Lawford, and Lawford will be caught by Harlan. Fisher take advantage of the short side. He slid under the tacklers as Ben Fisher, and once again it's the little Australian hooker that has spurred Halifax on. From the empty half and goes under the tackle. Not one that the Halifax supporters at the other end of the field could probably see from where they were, but Ben Fisher has restored a 4-point lead for Halifax with a good dart from acting half. Getting under the tackle is always difficult to stop a man going downwards with the ball. It's Doncaster 10, Halifax 14. Bloom, once again from this side of the field, has pulled it in perfectly this time. Well, a bit of showboating from Jamie Bloom on the way back there, as Anne went to the ear to listen to the Doncaster supporters. Well, some people might remember Assaramoni showboating at Trumall some time ago in a match against Bradford, when he actually turned around and laughed at Graham Bradley on a run to the line in a match which Halifax led 26-0 at half time and actually went on to lose. So hopefully that won't happen today, as Bloom is a recipient of the ball from the kick-off and goes across the face of 4 defenders before being put down. Fisher to Larder, and to make the hard yards up the middle away from the Halifax line. Sharif has drifted a long way inside from his wing with little effect on this occasion, just making a couple of metres. Wisner will opt for the 40-20 once again, and he has found the mark once again. That is a tremendous kick from Wisner, and the jubilation's there for all to see, as nearly every one of his teammates comes and pats Wisner on the back. So 2 40-20s. One from Fisher, the second from Wisner. Will put Halifax in a good position again as Black gets the ball away to Gibson, and Gibson scored last time, but this time gives it inside to Bunyan, who finally straightens the run up for Halifax, and he's put down 9 metres away. MacDonald takes it to within 5 metres, right under the shadow of the Doncaster post. Lawford shows the ball, then gives it to Morley. Ran out of options on this side as the defence moved out very quickly. Halifax still stuck around 5 metres away and having to go backwards to make the advantage, but then a forward pass kills the momentum, and Doncaster will get possession again, an opportunity to relieve the pressure. Craig Miles coming in off the wing, gets up and plays it quickly. Harland looking for work. Well, the head went back. The initial contact certainly wasn't round the head on Lee Harland, as Larder charges into O'Loughlin with little effect as O'Loughlin pushes him back, but Morley was round the legs to complete the tackle. Taffy puts the ball away. All right, kicks behind Gibson, waiting for it to stand up and hoping the chase is good, as Gibson comes up and steps inside too, and he's only just knocked off his balance, and that might have warranted a penalty, but the penalty's gone the other way for somebody talking out of turn. Well, Halifax supporters at that end of the field don't agree with Steve Nicholson's decision. But if he was in earshot of anything that was said on the Halifax line, then he must have the speed of a winger, because Allred had kicked the ball from inside his own half. Well, must be playing Cumbrian rules, because Steve Nicholson seems to have made a few howlers already in this first half. And the Holroyd cuts the deficit to 2. And it's always going to happen with Holroyd if he's in any sort of range of goal. They'll take the 2. Cut the lead. It's Doncaster Dragons 12, Halifax 16. And around 5 minutes left to go in this first half. And Bloom will be hoping, well, he's ensuring that the ball stays in play this time. Dropping on the 10-metre line. MacDonald going in hard again and giving a penalty away on the 10-metre line. Well, a massive penalty count building up against Halifax, 5-2 at the moment. There's really no need for anybody on the Halifax side to give away the penalty there. I know Lachlan it is that drives it out, and Larder and Fisher bring him down 22 metres out from the Doncaster line. Moana ducks down, but Lawford sticking to him. MacDonald out of the blocks, and Cook forced to get the ball away, and Doncaster ripping Halifax apart on that far side. Play on, says the referee. Taffy gives it to the fullback Cockayne, who tried to duck under Fisher's tackle. Halifax being pushed back. Taffy, well, that looked like a case for crossing, but Doncaster keep moving down that far side, and the referee Steve Nicholson has seen, well, he's seen his touch come on. Well, Touchwood's seen something. So it appeared to be anything untoward down that far side as Doncaster made ground with the ball. And Doncaster are coming back already, knowing that the penalty, and it's somebody that spoke out a turn again. Well, there's many a touch judge had the verbal abuse from the players, but I don't think I've ever seen one come on and sway the penalty decision. As Morley drives the ball for Halifax, Lawford looking for runners, brings Bloom back on the inside, and Bloom makes it over the 30, looks for the quick play of the ball, and MacDonald will drive it forward into 3. And they managed to turn him on his back as well, which will slow down the play of the ball. Black gets the ball out. Halifax lose it again. Referee indicates a forward pass, but I think he went to ground anyway. So Doncaster, maybe 2 sets of 6 left in this first half. With the 40 minutes almost up, referee in a close position. Doncaster supporters screaming at the referee for holding down and offside. And Carl Mills, another replacement, drives the ball forward. Cockayne, the fullback, at 90 mile an hour, then stops, tries to duck under the tackle. Halifax managed to stop him. Well, they've had to keep a close eye on him after He conjured up something on the power play in that previous set of 6. Last tackle, all right. Crossfield kick, all on the bounce, and the bounce will carry it over, touching goal, so it'll come back for the tap on the 20. Bloom takes up the first drive and makes about 5 metres. Bloom retaliating there to the challenge from Carl Mills. We'll have to be careful. Halifax conceding far too many penalties. Great ball away to Black. Black shrugs off 2 tacklers and then throws an outrageous dummy and steps through another tackle before being stopped by Moana just inside the 40. Nicholson screaming at the Doncaster players to get back on side. Great kick from Lawford, not up for Sharif, but it will come up for Gibson for his second try. And that a blessing for Halifax right on the 40 minutes. Not only is it Gibson's try of the first half, but it also gives Halifax an 8-point advantage with a kick to come, and that will have been the last play, I'm sure, of the first half. And once again it's Dean Lawford. Well, he's not played for a few weeks, but he's proved his value with his kicking game this afternoon as Dean Lawford, setting up 2 tries from kicks. And also involved in the build-up to a couple of tries as well. And Damien Gibson, 9 tries now for the full-back. Halifax racking up an important score. And Bloom adds on another 2. Ball disappearing over the post. There's a plane from the newly opened Robin Hood Airport. Disappears into the skyline, taking people away on their holiday. Well, it's turned into a bit of a holiday show for Halifax, sort of, in the first half after a lot of defending that they had to do. They were down after as early as the 6th minute. It looked like it might have been a repeat of Castleford after Coulton's first try and Allroyd converted. But 2 tries from Gibson with his first, Larder with a second, just 1 conversion from Bloom. 10-6 to Halifax. They looked like they'd started to organise themselves, but then Lawton scored in the corner for Doncaster to level the scores. Fisher buried his way under 2 defenders for Bloom to convert 16-10. Allroyd into that deficit with a penalty at 16-12, and a late try from Gibson and conversion from Bloom has given Halifax a 10-point cushion at half-time in this Northern Rail Trophy quarter-final. At half-time at the Earth Stadium, it's the Doncaster Dragons 12, Halifax 22.